Welcome back to AHS-TV. I'm your host, Jaden Sims, and today I'm joined with Miss Douglas. And we're going to be talking about what her high school life was like and how she got her teaching start. So, Miss Douglas, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do here at AHS?
So here at AHS, I have two subjects that I teach. I teach astronomy, and I teach an advanced biology to ninth graders.
Gotcha. So, I know that I had you for English, so do you have more than one, major to, be able to teach?
So I'm certified in a few different things. When I originally went to college, I went for elementary education, and then while I was there, a couple of friends encouraged me to pick up a degree in special education, and then I tested into English 7th through 12th and biology, and I am currently working towards my certification for astronomy.
Gotcha. So, did you ever end up teaching any elementary school or no?
Actually, that's a really great question. I taught elementary for 1 year, but I was only in an elementary for half day. So I went between a high school and an elementary, and I did Title I reading. So
Okay.
that was a totally different ball game. I had never done that, and it was a big learning curve.
Right.
And I really liked it, but the rest of my path just took me towards the high school.
That's good. And what would you prefer? Do you like the high school kids or do you like the younger kids better?
Oh, now I could never imagine working with anyone below ninth grade.
Right.
Even middle school. I think
get
it would
it.
be crazy. They're wild animals down there in the middle school.
Right. And you definitely like to teach bio or something more than you would elementary school, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I've been waiting for a long time for a biology position to open, which is why originally I kind of worked my way into English. I had done that as a co-teacher, so it was co-taught, and then I did that for a few years, and there just wasn't an open science position, but once a science position opened, I put my name in the ring for it.
Right. So that's your big thing is bio then.
Yeah, I love bio. I'm actually growing to really love astronomy too. I have been posting a lot of the celestial events that are happening lately in the sky, and then last year I took my students to see the total solar eclipse, and I just feel like that was life-changing, and so now it's becoming a passion as well. I like science in general.
Gotcha. And where did you get your college education?
So I went to Clarion University for my undergrad, and then I went to IUP for what would be known as a master's equivalency. I actually went for school counseling, which I didn't finish. I did 30 credits, and then when I got into my practicum and I started working in counseling students, I realized that was a really, big emotional and psychological toll, and I just decided that I didn't want to pursue that path.
Gotcha. And how many years were you in college?
So I did, for my undergrad, I was a dual major since I was majoring in elementary education and special education, so I did 5 years. At the time, that was how long it took to get through the dual major, and then, of course, the year I graduated, they cut that final year out, and you could get all that in 4 years, which would be significantly cheaper.
Right.
But it took 5 years, and then after those years, I did 2 years for my master's equivalency.
And then after that, did you start teaching right off the bat after you were out of college, or?
That's another great question. So I'm trying to think. I don't think I subbed anywhere, really. I applied. I was looking for full-time jobs. I might have done a couple days over in New Bethlehem because at the time I worked in Dayton. But yeah, I don't think I subbed anywhere for a significant period of time. I actually was hired full-time at the Summit Academy over in Herman, Pennsylvania, which is very close to Butler. So it's a school for juvenile delinquents who live there, so it's residential, and that was just a very intense job.
Right. And would you say your time there kind of shaped you as a teacher? Would you say it made you better or worse?
That is such a great question. I think that it made me a much better teacher. It made me much more resilient. I have a lot of grit, especially when it comes to classroom management and working through shaping behavior to being, to getting it where you want it to be with students that might struggle with behavioral outbursts or things of that nature. I think working there really taught me a lot about rapport building and how important that is, because if you don't have a relationship with a student and they're doing something that's not desirable or it's inappropriate, and you try to redirect them without having a good relationship and without showing mutual respect, it can go very poorly. Mm-hmm. So I think the one thing that I learned there was just how to rapport build, and then obviously classroom management kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Right. I always noticed that, when I had you in my classes, we didn't always have the best kids, and, people like to mess around, but I mean, you just like you got a way about you where you can just like get the classroom like to pay attention almost. It's great. It's crazy.
Just almost. No, yeah, I appreciate that, Jaden.
Like it's really hard.
I really work hard to do that, and I think I've worked with all levels of kids, and even kids that are maybe coming back from placement schools or whatever. And I always felt like, for the most part, I've had really good relationships even with those students as well.
That's amazing. I think that's like something that needs to happen with like almost all teachers and students. Like there needs to be a student-teacher relationship.
Yeah.
It just works way better. So did you have a second option other than teaching? Did you have any other interest, or were you like set on teaching?
So I decided in second grade that I wanted to be a teacher. And then I stuck with that pretty much the whole way through. For a moment in like maybe first grade, I thought maybe a veterinarian because I love animals as well. But I just found in second grade, I had a teacher. Her name was Mrs. Hooks. Rest her soul. She's passed away now. But she just made the classroom so comfortable and just such a desirable place to be that I thought, if I can give this feeling to other kids throughout my life, then that will give me purpose. And so she's kind of the reason I wanted to become a teacher, and that never really changed for me.
Right. Do you have any other role models like that? Like as you got older, is there any college professors that you can look back on and remember that were really great?
Yeah, so that's a great question too. I had a college professor. His name was Dr. Brian McGuire. He's also passed away, which is really sad. He passed away quite young. And he was pivotal for all of us because in college there's a lot of drill and kill. There's a lot of grind. You're constantly writing papers. You're constantly producing products for your college professors. Right. But he would start every class. So he had a literacy class, and he would start every class by reading us a children's book. And I am not kidding. We were 20 years old, and we were buying in. We were like, where the wild things are, It was great. And it made each class period something to look forward to, as silly as that sounds. And all it was 5 minutes of his 2-hour class. And I think it left a lot of people feeling more connected and more excited to go to class. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I agree. I love little activities like that just to, help connect the teacher with the student. What was another question I wanted to ask was in the classroom, teaching the same things, like teaching the same class every year. I know you taught English for a while. Does it get old, teaching the same stuff, or?
I don't think. It's interesting. I think it only gets better. And I think, too, if you're a teacher that's striving to give kids a meaningful education, you're constantly looking to improve your materials. You don't want to leave things get stagnant over time, especially with science, right? Mm-hmm. I noticed even when I was looking through my most recent Google Slides for astronomy that Uranus has an additional moon than it had at this time last year. So it's about constantly checking yourself and seeing what you can add. Like with astronomy, I inherited the curriculum, but I worked when I came into it to, update the PowerPoints, create study guides, create review games, create Jeopardy and Blue Kits, and I wrote a grant so that I could get solar and lunar eclipse Legos and virtual reality headsets so they could go to the International Space Station. So it's about never getting stagnant. It shouldn't really feel exactly the same, but the stuff you do that stays the same, you should be better and better at teaching it. So that's the overall goal.
And that was my next question. So you are a lot, you do make your own stuff, you don't have to follow a plan.
Oh, we have a plan to follow. So
but you can add your own 2 cents.
Yes, we have topics that we need to cover. So we have what's called state standards, especially for something that's tested, like biology is a keystone tested subject. And so literally everything we do in biology aligns with a state standard. And that's basically what a state standard is a requirement set forth by the state that they are this is what the kids need to know by the time they take the test. So each one of those is a broken down little mini goal you could look at it. Yeah, so we definitely have stuff we have to follow, but then we can pull in resources that we feel are valuable to teach those concepts.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I think that there should be a path that teachers should teach, and I feel they should be able to add their own little points and as however they feel.
Yeah, the material is really kind of what you have to sort through. It's will this lab work better or will this work better? Right. Will these materials kind of get the main concepts across easier, or will these, So we're constantly looking at things like that, how effective things are.
Mm-hmm. So, something I was really interested in, like, so when you were in high school, what kind of high schooler were you? So, like, were you like a jock, or were you more like theater, chorus?
I played sports.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be honest. I wasn't great at them. So
What'd
I
you
played.
play?
I played. Okay, so in 7th grade, I did soccer and cheer. Okay, and in I guess from 8th grade on, I did volleyball, which I was decent at.
Yeah.
I was pretty good at volleyball. But I wasn't like lighting the world on fire. I think overall our team wasn't doing very well. I did get to start sometimes,
That's
but
good.
in general, it was a little shaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that. I was more social in high school, though, which I still feel is a big part of my personality,
Right.
which is why I work on rapport building with students, right? Because then that's the buy-in, and then the pay is just that they care to listen and learn
Right.
with you. But yeah, so I was definitely social in 9th and 10th grade. I would, I would tell you that I didn't do so great in a few of my classes. I was just more interested in making friends and bebopping around as the social butterfly. But by 11th and 12th grade, I was like, I need to get all A's because I want to go to college. And so I need to get my life together. And so then I
Right.
became more of an academic focused student.
Yeah. I mean, that's good though. I was always more of a sports guy, and then I kind of switched more to like the musical side. But
I love that you do the musical, and I think that everyone at AHS should give the musical a chance. I think the musical is
agree.
like a really beautiful thing because it's art, right? But it's unifying so many different people because it's theater, it's music, right? It's dance, it's the things that we all love doing as a culture or society. I can't say all, but most people
Yeah.
enjoy. And what I love about it is it brings people who are maybe athletic or athletes, right, together with people who maybe love band or chorus. And it's not that you can't do both of those things. Surely there are students out there that do both, but it sort of unifies all these different walks
Right.
of life, which I think can be really great for our school culture.
was it like that when you were in high school, or was it more like divided?
That is such a great question. I never did the musical. # regrets. Okay. One of my biggest regrets is probably that I didn't sign up and at least do stage crew. Like I would have
Right.
loved stage crew, wearing all black, like moving things around, being like sort of stealthy, like a ninja. I would have really loved that. But yeah, I don't know. I can't. That's really hard for me to say. I mean, I do remember I had certain pockets of friend groups, but I do think it was a lot of like band and chorus kids, and I don't know how far it expanded out from there.
Right.
Yeah.
I know me personally, I wish I would have played like an instrument like in the band when I was younger. I feel like it would have been something really cool to get like good at.
Yeah. Hey,
if you
it's
could-
never too late to take lessons,
Right,
Jaden.
that's true. Would you ever want to play an instrument or anything?
I do, and actually, that's so funny that I'm giving you this advice that it's never too late. As I'm almost 40, I think that at some point I would like to take piano lessons. I
Yeah.
think the piano is one of the most beautiful sounding instruments, and I think it would be
agree.
wonderful. I am definitely music illiterate, though, so I would drive an actual music instructor mad. They would go crazy working with me
That's
as an
how
adult.
it was for me for the longest time. I couldn't get the hang of music. But is there anything else you're interested in outside of high school, or outside of like your life in high school?
This takes up a large portion of my life for 9 months of the year.
Right.
But I definitely love travel. I love going to concerts. If you name a modern popular artist, I've probably seen them in concert. I also like to go to like the greats, like the classics, like Tom Petty, Fleetwood Mac. So some of the old, I just saw Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So I love to see the greats just to be like, check it. I saw these really amazing artists that became famous for a reason. And then I see a lot of the modern people.
I did hear you saw Taylor Swift.
I did see the
That's a
Eras
big one.
tour.
That's a
That's
big one.
perhaps my favorite concert ever.
You think that was
Yeah,
your
I
favorite?
mean, yeah, because it was so theatrical. It was just
Right.
like amazing. It was just such a sight to behold. It was like watching live theater mixed with a
Right.
concert. So,
And that stadium, it was like full.
oh, it was
Like,
full, and it was
everyone-
moving.
That's so insane to me. Like, I've never seen like a concert like that, like so consistent that she has so many people like,
Crying and screaming and
yes!
passing out.
Yes,
Yeah, all
like-
of the things. I am nearly 40 years old, and I made about 40 friendship bracelets, and I traded with little kids like the whole time because I was like, oh, I'll give all my pretty bracelets to like little girls, But yeah, it was an amazing experience. I'm so fortunate that I got to do it. The day that we got our tickets, Ticketmaster actually had like a queue that, I mean, people were in it for
Right.
hours, and then right when I got tickets, it crashed, so I didn't
Oh.
know whether I got my tickets or not, but it all worked out in the end for me.
That's good.
I feel very fortunate.
I know that's happened to me before. I went to Zach Bryan, and we had to get into a queue for that. And, like, we lost it a couple of times, and we got it. Like,
it's a little nerve-wracking, isn't it?
It is. It's really tough. Like, if you want it, you got to, put in the work to get it. But
do you have any upcoming concerts that you would like to see?
I wanted to see Rob Zombie in August.
That's an intense one.
I know. I really jumped from Zach Bryan to Rob Zombie.
I'm like that too.
I went to Sublime over the summer.
Oh, cool.
And I saw a few different people. So.
Yeah, and that's like so old school. I can really resonate with that. That's like when I was in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Sublime. They're one of my favorites.
Love that for you. I'm most sad that I have not seen Post Malone.
Yeah,
I had Post Malone tickets twice, and I need everybody to know that I had COVID both times, including a fever, and I had to sell them at the last minute.
Man.
I know.
That's the worst.
It was really sad. So yeah, I love concerts, travel, food, going out to restaurants, and then theater. Anytime I can, like I just saw Hamilton, and it was great. And it's the second time I've seen it, so love those things.
Where all have you traveled to?
Whew. Not as many places as I would like. I go East Coast for the beach. I go to Rehoboth or Dewey Beach over the summer. I go every summer, sometimes multiple times a summer if I'm getting greedy. And I have been to Mexico several times. I'm about to go to the Bahamas for the first time. Yeah, so that trip's coming off, rapidly approaching, and it'll be nice and cool here. So I'll be nice and warm there, which is the most exciting part. And then I am going to Italy. So it'll be my first time overseas this coming summer. I have saved and saved and saved because I just want to eat unlimited bread and pasta.
Yes.
Unlimited.
I've seen that they
never
gonna
have
stop. Pizza. They'll sell pizza on the beach and stuff.
Like
that's where I want to go is Italy.
Some wood-fired pizza, some pasta and bread. That's why I'm going there.
Right. Yeah. It's just the best.
Yes, the food scene.
Alrighty, Miss Douglas. Thank you for joining us. That's all the time we have for today.
It's been lovely talking with you, Jaden. Thank you so much for choosing me for your interview.
Thank you for joining us.